In a quiet African village, a poor couple lived in a tiny clay house surrounded by golden fields. They had little to eat but hearts filled with faith and gratitude. Every night, they prayed for one blessing, a child to complete their lives. One morning, their prayers were answered with the cry of a newborn baby boy. They named him Kwame, and he became their world. Kwame grew under the shade of his father's hard work and his mother's gentle love. His father worked in the fields from dawn to dusk just to feed his family. His mother went hungry many nights so her son could have food on his plate. They dreamed that one day, their son would bring pride and happiness to their home. Life was tough, but their love made every hardship easy. As Kwame grew, he became curious about the world beyond the village. His parents sold their few goats to send him to school. They walked miles just to pay his school fees with hope in their eyes. "Study hard, my son," his mother would say, "so your life can be better than ours." Kwame promised he would never forget their sacrifices. Years passed, and Kwame's hard work paid off. He found a good job in the city. His parents cried with joy when he returned in a suit, holding gifts. He bought them new clothes and promised to build them a better home. But the city lights soon began to change his heart. The love that once connected him to his parents started to fade. Kwame met a beautiful woman named Abini, full of charm and confidence. He fell in love quickly and brought her home to meet his parents. His parents welcomed her warmly, serving her food with loving hands. But Abini frowned. She didn't like the village life or their humble home. "We need our own house," she whispered, "away from all this dirt." Day by day, Abini's words poisoned Kwame's mind. "Your parents are holding you back," she said. "You'll never grow if they stay here." One evening, Kwame broke his parents' hearts by asking them to leave. His mother cried silently, while his father simply nodded and said, "May God guide you." As they walked away, the house felt colder than ever before. Days turned into weeks, and silence filled the once joyful home. Abini stopped cooking, laughter disappeared, and love slowly faded away. Kwame tried to fill the emptiness with money and gifts, but nothing felt right. He often looked at the door, half expecting his mother to walk in smiling. But deep down, he knew he had pushed his happiness away. One afternoon, Kwame returned home from work and found the house silent. Abini was gone, her clothes, her jewelry, and her love vanished overnight. On the table lay a single note: "I was never happy here. Don't look for me." His world collapsed in that single moment of truth. The same house that once felt too small now felt like an endless prison. That night, Kwame couldn't sleep. His heart was heavy with regret. He remembered his parents' tired faces, their sacrifices, their prayers. Every memory cut deep like a knife in his chest. "I sent away the only people who truly loved me," he whispered to himself. Tears rolled down his face until the first light of dawn. At sunrise, Kwame packed a small bag and began his journey back to his village. He walked for miles, asking everyone if they had seen an old couple nearby. His feet were sore, but his heart was filled with hope and guilt. "Please God," he prayed, "let me see them once again." He didn't know if they would forgive him, but he had to try. Kwame reached the village where he was born, but everything had changed. New faces lived where old homes once stood. He asked every passerby if they knew where his parents had gone. Most shook their heads, others said, "They moved far, near the river." His heart sank, but he kept walking with tears and determination. Kwame took the same road his parents once walked, now covered in dust and weeds. Every step reminded him of his childhood laughter and his parents' voices. The silence around him felt heavier than any punishment. He prayed quietly, "Please let them still be alive." The wind blew softly, as if answering his prayer. At a small roadside tea stall, Kwame met an old man sitting quietly. He showed him a picture of his parents and asked, "Have you seen them?" The man nodded slowly and said, "Yes, by the riverbank, they live in a small hut." Kwame's eyes filled with tears of relief and guilt. He thanked the man and began to run toward the river. The path to the river was rough and full of stones, but Kwame didn't stop. His heart pounded with every step, part fear, part hope. He imagined their faces, their smiles, and their pain. "Will they even want to see me again?" he wondered. The sound of flowing water grew louder. He was close. Then he saw it, a small hut made of mud and dry leaves standing by the river. Outside, an old man was fixing a fishing net with trembling hands. Beside him sat an elderly woman, humming softly with a faded smile. Kwame froze, his heart stopped for a moment. He had found them. Kwame's eyes filled with tears as he slowly stepped closer. His mother looked up first, her eyes widened in disbelief. The old man dropped his fishing net, his hands shaking. For a few seconds, no one spoke, only the sound of the river filled the air. Then Kwame fell to his knees. "Mother! Father," Kwame said with a trembling voice. "Please forgive me. I was blind, I was lost in pride." His mother ran to him, held his face, and cried without a word. His father placed his hand on his son's shoulder and whispered, "My boy, you came back." The three hugged tightly, their tears washing away years of pain. That evening, the mother cooked a simple meal, rice and stew, like old times. They sat on the floor, eating together in silence and gratitude. Kwame realized how much peace lived in their humble home. His father smiled and said, "Money builds houses, but love builds homes." Kwame couldn't stop his tears as he nodded. Word spread quickly, Kwame has returned to his parents. The villagers admired his courage to seek forgiveness. Some said, he lost everything but found what truly matters. Others said, that's the power of a mother's prayer. The family's story became a lesson for everyone. Kwame repaired the old hut and painted its walls with care. He planted flowers outside, just to make his mother smile. His father helped him build a small bench under the tree. Every nail he hammered was a piece of his heart healing. The home slowly came back to life. At night, they sat by the fire, talking about old times. His mother told stories of his childhood mischiefs. His father laughed like he hadn't in years. For the first time in a long while, laughter filled the house again. The sound of family replaced the sound of loneliness. Sometimes, Kwame still thought about Abini and the life he lost. But then he looked at his parents and felt peace. If she hadn't left, he said, I would never have found my way back home. His mother replied, sometimes, loss is just God's way of saving you. Kwame smiled through his tears, it finally made sense. Kwame started a small business in the village, repairing tools and helping farmers. The villagers respected him for his humility and kindness. His parents watched proudly as he rebuilt not just a home, but a life. He's a changed man, they would say. Indeed, he was changed by love, pain, and forgiveness. Months later, the village held a harvest festival by the river. Kwame and his parents joined, dancing and laughing together. People greeted them warmly, the family that found its way back. Under the night sky, Kwame felt a peace he never knew before. He whispered, "Thank you, God, for giving me a second chance." The story of Kwame spread beyond the village, told in schools and homes. Parents reminded their children, never forget who raised you. A parent's love never ends, even when you walk away, they said. Kwame's mistake became a message of hope. His journey showed that forgiveness is stronger than pride. Each evening, Kwame sat with his parents under the same old tree. They shared stories, laughter, and silence, all filled with love. Sometimes they cried together, sometimes they just smiled. Every sunset reminded them how fragile life truly is. But also how beautiful a second chance can be. One evening, his father said softly, "Son, life will always test your heart. But no matter how far you go, never forget your roots." Kwame listened silently, tears filling his eyes. He realized his father's love had never faded, not even for a moment. He promised to protect them for the rest of his life. The hut that once held sorrow now shined with laughter again. Birds chirped on the roof, and the sound of cooking filled the air. Kwame often said, "This is what wealth truly feels like." His parents smiled, knowing their son was home in every way. Love had conquered pride, and peace had replaced pain. In life, pride can make you forget those who made you who you are. But true strength is not in success, it's in humility and gratitude. No matter how high you rise, never forget the hands that lifted you. Family is not a chapter, it's the whole story. And love always finds its way home. What did you learn from this story? Always value your parents, they are your first blessing and your last shelter. Forgive, love, and never let pride destroy your home. Because at the end of every journey, family is all that remains.